Hi again, everyone, and welcome to the second installment of our AMA, talking about our upcoming Terraform update. Last week, we introduced you to a couple of topics regarding the general game economy, and we hope that you found the answers satisfactory, that you learned a couple of things about where we are heading with Mines of Dalarnia and why we are doing the things we are doing. For today, Keith, David, and me, we will dig a bit more into land management and all the other topics you wanted to hear more about. Before we head into the official part of this AMA, there's one information we want to share with you, and this is that we will need to delay the Terraform update from basically next week, August 17th, till the beginning of September. This happens because we realized over the last couple of days that by pushing that update back a bit, we will be able to introduce the mining corporation, formerly known as minion features, into the game and just create a way better package and experience for everyone. And we think that delaying the game for like a couple of weeks is worth it. I hope you understand that, and I hope you will appreciate it once you play the game, because we believe like the game will be more fun and there will be way more interesting stuff to do in Mines of Dalarnia once the mining corporation is implemented. Before we talk about some of the economy-related topics, there's one more thing we can share with you today that we are very excited about, and that is an upcoming feature currently called Golden and Silver Shards that we are working on. Golden and Silver Shards are going to address two of the most pressing topics that our community has: land utility and land qualities moving forward, as well as how do we value loyalty of our players. Let's start with golden shards first. So what are golden shards? Golden shards are going to be a new kind of currency with a very specific use case initially. So initially, on launch of the game, we think at the moment that golden shards would tie in with two major competition types a year. So twice a year, very big competitions, let's call them golden competitions, which will have a significantly larger prize pool than the current ones. In order to participate in those competitions, players will need golden tickets. And you probably guessed it by now, to create golden tickets, you need golden shards to craft those. And how do you get golden shards? Golden shards are going to be issued to you players based on your engagement and loyalty to the game. So for very specific actions within the game, like crafting in new equipment, going on a mining run, participating in competitions, or replenishing land, you get different amounts of shards. Not only that, based on your loyalty to Mines of Dalarnia, the amount will increase. So if you've been a player from the very first day, you get X times the amount of shards that a very new player gets. So this is how you get golden shards. And for the time being, golden competitions in our mind, this is how you will use them initially. Then what are silver shards? Now, silver shards are quite similar to golden shards with one major difference. This is a landowner feature. So if you're a landowner by now, you've been probably a bit concerned about the upcoming land economy update and how it affects the value of the land NFTs, especially if you had very valuable NFTs up until now. The Silver Shards feature will address that. You will be able to stake your land NFTs to receive Silver Shards over a certain period of time. Again, just as with golden competitions, Silver Shards will have very specific use cases, will be tradable. And for the initial launch of the feature, we plan to introduce silver competitions to the game, which will be hosted between golden competitions, and again, will be quite bigger in terms of reward pool than our general competitions. So based on how much land you stake, you get a different amount of silver shards. But not only that, the higher quality your land had up until now, the more silver shards you get. For that, David, our game economy designer, is currently looking into creating proper tiers of land quality that will be part of the land metadata, basically. And this will determine how much you benefit from your current land, especially if it's of better quality at the moment, and it will keep you benefits moving forward in the future. Keep in mind, we are kickstarting the silver shards and golden shard feature likely with competitions, but we don't limit ourselves to it moving forward. Maybe those shards will have more utility in the future. Maybe we come up with very cool ideas and features, and then we will tackle it. But for the time being, this is what we are aiming to accomplish with golden and silver shards.
Hey, so we are very happy and thrilled to be here and giving you all this new information about our new economy. And we will talk to you about these new two features that Manfred has already talked about that will improve Minds of Dalarnia a lot. And I'm sure all of you will be very happy with them. So as you know, the base economy was rebalanced with some small features added and others removed, but it's all more or less the same. So the new resource mining is way more fun than previous and strategic. And there's a new paradigm for landowners, but the overall experience is the same. That rebalance, making all lands able to replenish whatever they want, was essential for MOD to survive. Without that, was just impossible to make the game successful. But saying this way almost seems that landowners will be jeopardized and loyalty supporters have been forgotten, but it's exactly the opposite. And that's where these new two features come along. So the gold, silver, and shards that Manfred has talked about will give a meaning to all actions performed by all players and landowners, not only from this point onwards, but also since MOD launch back on April 2022. With the gold and silver shards, we can reward properly our players for being long-term supporters, but also all landowners. And this part is very important. It's taking account the tier of the land. So for this feature, your land will retain all the old metadata. So high tiered lands bought more expensive in the past will give more shards than mid-tier lands, and mid-tier lands will give more shards than low-tier lands. But even the low-tier lands that previously returned nothing for their owners now will give you shards. And owning shards will open a door to claim a part of MOD's play-to-earn allocation. And then, on the other hand, we have the new gameplay that we call right now Mining Corporation, where each one of you can become the owner of a mining company. And this will be a strategic idle game with a heavier resource management focus, where you spend regular resources like copper and Aussie and drag, and this will give our resources one more use case, a big use case, as you will see, making even more important the mining part of our game. The entire game mechanics of the mining corporation will be shared with you properly, but a quick sum up, this will happen in Luna Praxis Moon, so it's like One Mind and the Metagalactic Collective have invented a new capsule that's able to terraform an entire moon, and you, as the owner of the mining company, will be able to buy and deploy a certain amount of robot minions each day on the Luna Praxis mines. And those minions will autonomously mine resources for you 24/7. And in here, just a quick disclaimer though, that those new resources of the mining corporation are not real resources. They are not silver, not iron, not gold, and they are not a new type of resource. Economy 3.0 will not have a new resource. It's just like a score for this game. So you can buy and deploy minions, and you will have three types of minions: miners that have velocity. You can when you buy a miner, it will add that velocity to your total velocity. So if you buy a miner that has 5 velocity, you will have 5 velocity to your total velocity. And then the total velocity that you have will add, like if you have like 100 velocity, each 24 hours will have 100 resources to your score. Again, resources here are a score. And then you will have guards that have defense and can protect the miners. And you will have repair minions that have efficiency and can repair the guards. And each one of the three types, miners, guards, and repairs, will have 7 different minions, each give you like a different amount of velocity, defense, and efficiency. And then each season will have 30 days in the beginning. And during the season, some catastrophic events will happen. And during each catastrophic event, if your minions are not properly protected and repaired, you will lose a part of your total velocity, or the entire total velocity, and you also lose defense and efficiency. So there's a lot more to this, as you can imagine. And when the season reaches its end, the Metagalactic Collective will buy back from everyone their resources. In the beginning of the season, the Metagalactic Collective announces what is the total price for that season, and in the end, you will get the exact same percentage of the proportion of your score in the overall score. So, for example, if all players together that play that season have mined 100 resources between all of them, and you have managed to mine 10 resources, you will be given from the Metagalactic Collective 10% of the entire price of this season. So I'm pretty sure that you will like, and it will bring much more demand for the plot renting and for the mining in the traditional mines, especially when we start to grow in a way that much more plots will be needed after this. So we are very excited with these 2 new features, and we expect you to.
Yeah, the idea was really to create a idle game that works with Mines of Dalarnia. So we have this thing that you can come back and check every day. You can make decisions and hope things pan out well. Try to strategize your build of minions, and kind of have the whole mining corporation be this layer that exists, that feeds MOD feeds into it, and it takes resources, and it has this whole extra layer of gameplay without disrupting the economy, and actually to improve the economy. So a lot of time was put into the design, and we think having it come with the economy update and then the terraform update is really going to be like a nice synergy to have those things both launching together.
Yes, I don't think I have much to add there. Every time David talks about that feature, I get excited, and I know that I will perform that because that's the way it is. I can already tell from our testnet builds. Well, I can't help it. Just 2 things I want to add regarding the golden shards and silver shards that we didn't touch upon yet is, first of all, I know that our community is quite upset about the current state of our competitions with cheats and exploits. We know that. We are not ignoring that. We are working hard on improving this, and we will make sure that if the first features we are going to do with golden shards and silver shards are really competitions, those competitions will not be cheated, and we don't issue huge amounts of dollars into the hands of cheaters and hackers. That's important for me. Another thing, and this is just because David made me nervous when he mentioned this, and I feel like we should manage expectations here. David said, like, for golden shards, all actions within the game will give you shards. Oh, we need to discuss that. I don't think that toppling off sound should give you shards and stuff. So I can't promise that opening options screen will give you shards and things. But hey, we will figure out a healthy amount of features that will give you shards, I think. David and me will talk about this.
Yeah, we're still balancing exactly what does and does not give you shards.
We need to balance David. Okay. So yeah, I think that covers basically our introduction, and we wanted to share with you guys up front. And now we can head straight into the questions you had.
Okay, so if all land will be the same, yes, all land will be the same, equal, but, and there's a big catch in here, only in the traditional mining system. So as we have talked about right now, in this new gold, silver shard system we have created, we will have benefits, high benefits for owners of high-tiered plots. So right now, and opposite of before, you will be rewarded taking into account your land, the tier of your land, and we will separate the lands into tiers, and high tier lands will reward more, mid tier lands will reward a little less, and low tier lands will reward even less. But all of the lands right now will be rewarded in these gold, silver shards. And in the traditional mining system, you will be able to replenish your lands to whatever you want. And as soon as we start to grow and have a lot more players, you will see that we will need a lot more land than we have previously needed.
Yeah, I think it sounds somewhat bad if we talk about all land being the same, but the way I see it to a degree is like, now as a landowner, I have no options, right? I can replenish it to whatever the system allows me to, but this means like to whatever I want it to be and address the needs of the community. And therefore my decisions here matter more, because now I can really try to replenish what I think the community needs, what gives me the biggest profit. So yes, on paper it reads like all lands are equal, but this is just like, as long as nobody touches the lands. The moment people or landowners start to replenish land and manage it, things will play out different. And the better you are on reading the community and the needs, the more profit chances you will create for yourself as a landowner, I think.
It also gives us more options in the future when we do want to grow the game and add new things, that we have ways to bring those into people's lands in
Yes.
paths that are, they're more fair and more, kind of flexible than having this kind of very rigid, like pre-built land structure that's harder for us to grow.
Yeah, and right now, until we start growing, you as a landowner can decide whether you want to have your plot in the traditional mining system, so replenishing and being rented by miners, or if you want to stake it in the silver shard feature that we have presented and earn silver shards with that. So right now you can put all your lands, even if you have multiple lands, you can put all your lands working for you.
That is something that should not be underestimated, right? Like, owning multiple lands now has a real benefit, like a real one, without more work for the landowner, because he can simply stake away those lands he just doesn't want to manage at the moment. So yeah, I think that's also quite a huge benefit. Yeah, regarding the question, I think by now we laid out our plans that involve how to keep different qualities of land in equation within the game. And I hope you have a good picture about how we're trying to accomplish this. One thing that I want to stress though is like, with all the changes that we are doing and the adjustments that we need to do moving forward to make this game successful and get it into a state that it can grow and be sustainable, we never want to punish someone. Like, we want to improve the general experience and the chances of success for the game, and therefore for our community to have something they can come back to even in 2, 3, or 4 years. Like, I don't think any one of us wants to punish one of our players or investors for anything. I hope you understand that.
And land will not lose their meta information. All of that will be kept. So
Yes.
in the traditional mining system, the one where you replenish the land and miners rent it, all lands will be the same. But again, as we have explained before, now you will have this new feature, the silver shards, only for landowners, and all your metadata information, so all the lands that were exclusive, all the high tier lands will remain, all that information, and you will receive more shards regarding your overall quality of land.
Yeah, we're going to assign tiers to them, which there wasn't like a tier before, but we're going to have an algorithm that does that, and it'll be pretty intuitive, I think. Aussie 4 lands are tier 4, and Aussie other lands are tier 3, etc. We'll reveal the logic behind that, but I think by assigning those tiers to the traditional land model formats will also help us be able to recognize which ones had that value and be able to reward them in systems like the silver shards. So for giving bonuses to landowners with multiple lands, the new system I think actually does that a lot better because you can stake lands that you currently aren't actively terraforming. You have more flexibility, what you can do with your lands, and you can have different land sets to different terraforming templates and things. So you kind of have more options than you used to for actually just simply having those lands and managing them. As far as the idea of having bonuses for lands that are near each other or lands that are touching or that kind of thing, I mean, that's a feature we've had in mind for a long time. That's why the planets have regions. Every planet is split up into 16 100 by 100 regions. We've long had ideas about allowing there to be mechanics that bolster certain regions or little clusters of lands and let people develop that. Always been part of the vision. We've always had a lot of things in the way of getting to that. It's something that we really would love to do and create the planets to have more personality, and the lands have more personality, but it's not on the short-term roadmap right now. There's so much other things we have to do first, but that's definitely on our radar. So I hope that at some point we'll be able to have bonus features for lands that are, part of a group, some kind of little land plans and stuff like that. Just not yet.
Yes, the moment David tells us like, hey, we can do something without killing our game economy, then we will look into this.
Right, exactly. It's got to make sense in the larger systems.
Yeah, and there are two major benefits right now for having multiple lands. First, the one Keith has said, so you can decide to have some lands on the traditional mining system, renting and replenishing, and others you can stake them on the silver shards. But the other major one is we are going to increase the cooldown times for replenishes. So right now, if you have multiple lands, you are in fact decreasing the cooldown time for your account, for yourself. Because if you have multiple lands, you can replenish one today and one in some hours. So you are reducing the cooldown time for yourself. So that's a big and major improvement for all of you that have multiple lands.
And yeah, about those ones, I think diamonds in the question refers to Aussie, and I don't know if it was David or Keith that mentioned before that like the 4 Aussie lands will be like the highest tier. I mean, that's an obvious part of our tier system. So yeah, there will be some sort of special feature coming up for the 4 diamond lands. Okay, that is an interesting and important question, I think, and also one that I think we addressed with talking about the golden shards feature, especially taking loyalty of our players into consideration, getting benefits for that part of our community that has been around since the beginning, basically. I think we take the issue of loyalty within our community very serious. It's not an easy one to solve without, hijacking the overall user experience also for new players, especially in such a game economy heavy game. But it will always be on our mind. Does that mean that golden shards are going to solve this ultimately? Well, I hope so. It will make our lives easier, but it will always be a topic that we will take care of and keep in our mind moving forward.
Yeah, and I just want to stress out that the new golden shards that is like a loyalty program for players will take into account everything that you have done since the beginning of the game. So players who have playing this since the beginning will have more shards and more rewards than a player that is making the exactly same action right now, but it's only in the game for some days or months. So we have cover you. We also want to have our token of appreciation to all of you that are with us since the beginning, and we are pretty sure that you will like these gold and silver shards because they will give you exactly what you want.
Just to be very clear, when we talk about the loyalty program, we always refer to the start of our game on BNB chain by launch. We cannot reward our loyal players that already have been playing, the initial proof of concept or prototype on Chromia. This is not something we can do, but we will take into consideration when you started to play Mines of Dalarnia on BNB chain. Okay, regarding that question, like, we want to create benefits for long-term supporters. We don't want to compensate someone for playing our game. Like, the decisions we make for the game are always the best decisions we can do in a given moment, considering everything from, you know, production budget to impact on the game to the community. We don't take them lighthearted. And I don't think we need to compensate someone for the decisions we made. Moving forward, there will be adjustments coming, and that's part of game development. But taking loyalty into consideration and making sure that those most loyal users really benefit from being there since day one of our launch on BNB chain, I think that's something, as I stated before, that is on our mind.
So the question about biomes and aspects on the land and if they're being retained. So in the new system, every time you terraform a land with a new capsule, new layout, the aspect on that land will be randomized because we know that an impact on people's ability to access lands and their loadouts. We're changing it so you do not have to have a matching aspect piece of gear to mine on a land with that aspect. You just don't get any bonus. And you will get instead a stacking bonus of, I believe it's attack power, defense rating, and movement speed. Maybe something else, but those are the main things that increases with every piece of gear you have that matches the aspect you're digging on. So let's say that you terraform a land and it rolls jungle. If you just do not have a jungle loadout, you can still mine on it and you can still get your resources out of it. However, if you have a full set of 3 stack jungle pieces, you can go in there and you'll be overpowered. You'll be additionally powered, extra powered miner. That should make extraction easier, and over time, I think that's kind of a direction you want to take aspects. Is that they're bonuses, they have special features, they give you special, ability to do things, but aren't completely blocking players from doing content. Because we felt that was becoming very restrictive.
Yes.
Yeah, but the aspects are still needed and rewarded, but what I think is, because now you can mine on every piece of land, this will improve, or it's a big improvement for both players and landowners, because now as a player you can mine everywhere, and as a landowner you will have a much higher amount of miners that can mine on your land. So it's a big improvement for both of them.
Also worth mentioning that when we introduced, your own gear competitions, the not fixed gear competitions, those will have a similar rule where even if you don't match that competition aspect, you can still play. Didn't feel right to make people bring in some low-level piece of jungle equipment just so they could access it. But the stacking bonuses, especially in the competition, will mean a lot. So you'll really want to have matching aspects for those. But again, it won't block you from participating.
So about this, we have balanced the entire mining system to allow everyone, after a paid upgrade, to replenish depth 4 and 5. But we have increased the cooldown times a lot. And because of this cooldown increase in the new economy, 2 things will happen. 1, everyone will be able to profit from high tier depths and from all depths, in fact. And 2, all landowners with several plots will have advantage here, because you can cycle your plots, which in practice means you can lower the cooldowns for yourself. Not for each individual plot, the cooldowns are set, but for your entire account, if you have more than 1 plot, it's in fact the same, that you have lowered the cooldown. So it's a fun and engaging system that really benefits those who have invested in Mines of Dalarnia and gives an additional strategic layer to our game. And I think it's important to point out too that The new depth 1, 2, and 3, and even 4 and 5 only share the name with the previous ones. They are now very different from previous. They are cheaper to replenish, and all of them, even depth 1, gives profit to landowners, especially when we start to grow and have a lot of new users craving for copper and iron and silver. Depth 1 and 2 will be very profitable. And because we have lowered the amount of digs you replenish, now you only replenish 50 digs, it means that you as a landowner are not locked to a plot configuration for long. This way you can adjust much quicker to any new change to the user base or to the supply and demand of each depth of each resource and so on. So as I stated above, a much more engaging and strategic way to play Mines of Dalarnia, both for players and landowners.
Yeah, to add to this in general about deeper depths, just as David said, theoretically those will be available for every piece of land. However, land needs still to be upgraded to be able to replenish the deeper depths. This is still a system that we are working on in detail. It will not be ready by launch of the new land economy mid of this month, but it will happen sooner or later, rather sooner than later.
Oh, and just to clarify, any land that previously had the Gilded Injector and had access to the deeper depths, it'll retain that upgrade status through the update, so that, you know, first thing when the new economy goes live, the update goes live, those lands will already be upgraded and able to be terraformed for depths 4 and 5.
Regarding mining apes, we do have our mining ape quest. This is a feature that's working quite well at the moment. It will continue and it'll be going on for a while. There are no specific plans for new features right now, but yeah, we are happy with mining apes. I think the community as well. So this is here to stay for a while.
So regarding perk redesign, we are redesigning some of the perks again. This is the same usual culprits, the ones that were previously impacting how many points you got per gem. We redesigned those when we updated for the competitions, both to make them more useful because they were underpowered, and also to make them make sense with the fixed gear competitions, which we were doing at the time. They are being redesigned once again to work with the resource mining. It doesn't really make sense to give you orange gem bonuses and resource mining because there are no orange gems. So they're being redesigned again, and plus one extra one. So just to quickly talk through those, the previous green gem bonus is now giving you a time gem bonus. So time gems grant additional time. Thought was that was like the most baseline kind of universal bonus before, and it still is. The one that was giving you bonuses for mining gems is now a mining accelerator, so it breaks resource deposits in much fewer hits. Doesn't sound that exciting, but some of the resource deposits in resource mining, especially the rare ones, take a bunch of hits. And if you're trying to keep your time bonus up, being able to just strike them and move on really is worthwhile. The monster gem bonus that used to give you more points for killing monsters now is what we're called an attack miner bonus. So in this one, this is your attack power increases as the number of gems in your bag increase. And this is a bit of a theme for some of these new perks. Idea here is that at the beginning of the run doesn't do much for you, but when your bag is like close to full, you get powered up, which again, because the time bonus and the fact that at the end of the run, it's like the hardest time in resource mining because you can't find the last gem you need. You're somewhere in the mine, you're running out of health, you're worried about your time bonus. Being powered up then is very important. So we think these would play kind of interestingly and give you like a bit bonus at near the end of your run. The next, the one that used to be an all gem bonus is a speed miner bonus. So same thing, but increases movement speed when your bag is full of gems. I could see people having a loadout that has the attack and speed both running, so they'd get like, you know, super powered near the end. And then the previous red gem bonus, you know, those legendary ones is at the bottom of the mine all the time, is now called a Rare Seeker. So this one actually shows on your radar a little icon pointing to where the rarest resource is nearby, which is very good. I think a fair replacement for the red one, which previously was also very good since red gems worth a lot of points. So those are what's happening with the main the main 5 gem bonuses. And one more is being redesigned. It previously was an extra gem drops randomly when you kill a monster. This perk never really worked as intended anyway. So we changed it now to be monsters will drop an additional time gem every X monster kills, with the X depending on how upgraded the perk is. And this ends up being quite good because time gems are really important in the new mode, and fighting monsters is dangerous. So being able to get more time for killing fewer monsters will really add up, and I think it'll make that perk a lot more useful than it used to be. So those are the perk changes planned. A disclaimer: this is still in testnet. They may tweak a little bit. Balance may change, but that's the plan. Yeah, we talked about this. All these perks still pretty much work in competitions. The wording on them is a little fuzzy, mostly just because of screen real estate, because like we want to have like these like paragraphs under each perk icon. But all the effects, like for the competition, the attack miner bonus and the speed miner bonus, they go up based on something else. This is why I don't want to answer this yet, because it's kind of still in math mode. Mm-hmm. Important point though is they're not like disabled during competitions. They still work. It's just a little confusing because they essentially have 2 different uses now, which is try to keep them spiritually as similar as possible. So like if one used to make your attack power go up, the more resources you have, the new one will make your attack power go up the more something that you do. And we can kind of give the details of that later once we're a little further into So regarding time gems, the way it works is as you play in the new resource mining system, you've got your time bonus bar, and the bonus decays. It's not really a time limit; it's just a decaying bonus, similar to a little bit like the old one. And as it decays, you can get time gems by killing monsters that fill it back up. However, there's also a cap that's decaying along with it that kind of follows it down, and you can't bonus yourself back up above that cap. So what that means is you are still rewarded for speed, and you can't do like things where you like lure 8 bull rats into a hole and then kill them all the last second to max it back out and exit. You can't do that. You can do that a little bit to get your back up to the cap. That's fine, and that's risky. So we think that's fair, but we built in systems to protect you from being able to do something kind of cheesy like maxing your score bonus at the last second before you exit.
Regarding that question, there are like 2 things here. Upgradable land and upgrade of original equipment. For the land topic, it is part of our plans to give players again the option to upgrade to deeper depths, or whatever we call them later on. This is being worked on, it will be part of the game. It's not ready yet, and it will very likely not be ready once the update hits mainnet, but it will come. So you will be able, even the premium land, to upgrade it. Regarding the equipment, I know that feature is currently not available. We will get it back online, and you will be able to upgrade your equipment. However, I need to state that this sort of legacy feature was never supposed to be running forever. So if we take it back online, we will also communicate for how long it will be available before we take it offline ultimately. We just don't want to just have it gone and no longer be available without notifying anyone. But it was never meant to be like a fixed thing within the game.
Yeah, totally. The original equipment will be coming back. Upgrade will be coming back. We will sunset it also eventually, but it's obviously not fair for it to go away with no warning. It just isn't part of the new contract, so it has to be redeveloped. But it's something that we'll bring back, so you can do that, and then we'll have a clearer timeline for when it's going to be disabled.
And just to point out that 6 lands that already have the deeper depths in there, they will continue with them, and when the new economy launches, you will have those deeper depths in your plot, and all the other plots will sooner or later start to replenish upon a payment of a fee, but you will also be able to upgrade to the deeper depths and start to replenish them. Okay, so about that, lands will not lose their value. So in the traditional mining system, lands will be more or less all the same, or you can replenish everything from this point on. But your land will continue to have its metadata, so it will continue to have its uniqueness and will continue to have all the perks that were original in it. With the silver shards, we will give the community the ability to earn more or less shards regarding how high tier your land is. So you will not lose value with this new economy, and your land will retain all the uniqueness that they used to be.
Yeah, so regarding MOD version 1, the web game, that was a testnet kind of proof of concept, and it was really fun. I know it was fun to play. That design, both the security, the economy, everything about it was just not viable to go live. If people are concerned about security and hacking issues and stuff, now you should have seen what would have happened if we had launched version 1. It really had to be redesigned. That's why we did. Now, getting closer to that was always the vision. So, having built up a year of tech and backend and infrastructure and economy research and math and seeing how things have behaved and all these things like that is what's allowed us to get back to the point that we can bring back, the one-to-one resource mining concept that the original game had. But it wasn't like we got rid of it for no reason. It was a progression of development of understanding what's possible on blockchain, what's secure, what's economically viable. That's why we went away from it and are now coming back to it, because we finally can. That's the whole kind of story from the untold story from version 1.0. So about the tax question, yes. So the taxing system hasn't changed since we put in land economy 2.0. It's been the same. The contracts haven't changed on that. Basically, the way that works is it's 10% unless you go below a certain amount, and then it's just there's flat tax below that amount. So it could actually be more than 20%, but the system's there to prevent landowners from setting their rent to 0 cents and then farming their own land for it. We need to have like a baseline. So that's where that comes from.
Okay. Yeah, regarding that question, it seems like there are two ways to talk about our game economy here. It's just the feature scope that we want to implement, and then it's like, when is it pitch perfect and when it's working flawlessly? And yes, David, when is it going to work flawlessly, and when do you have the features in that you wanted to have in?
So yeah, it depends what is the intention of this question. If the question is when it's 100% released, well, on the beginning of September, we will have 90% of the economy released. That's exactly why we have postponed it to that date, so we can release almost everything. We were lacking on that date things that are related with our change to a new network, but without that, we have almost everything on that release. If the question is when the economy will be 100% functional, well, never, because it's almost impossible to have economy 100% functional. But we are pretty sure that with our new economy that we are going to put in place, the economy will be much, much better, and it will be much easier for the entire system and for the community to regulate all the system and all the balance of our economy. So we will never will have 100% functional economy as any game in the world, blockchain or not. But we are pretty confident that we will have a very, very strong and working economy starting on the new economy release.
Yeah, and let's not forget, also scalable. We do believe that the upcoming economy adjustments will allow us to scale the community and without any major upsets moving forward. So this is also quite important, I think. So before we end this second AMA, there's one more thing that I wanted to address. Most of you probably know our roadmap and that we have like this new endgame content that was announced. We will not add new resources, planets, or major content to the game economy anytime soon, because we know that we have to first balance the current economy. So this is what we are looking into. This is what we are focusing on, and only if the economy part is stable, we will then look into new endgame stuff. This doesn't mean that we will not introduce new endgame content in terms of a new challenge or monster type or maybe new equipment you can craft with the current things, but don't expect any new resources anytime soon. I think that's very important to note. Then, yeah, I hope we addressed most of your concerns and questions in a way that you understand where we are coming from and that you understand our motivations in doing the things that we are doing. I also hope that you liked what you heard about the mining comparison feature, the gold and silver shards. For both features, we will have more information sooner or later. Regarding the mining comparisons, sooner to launch of the Terraform update for golden shards, silver shards, as well as the land tier system. Once we have that fleshed out properly, we will share that information with you as well, including a launch date. And yeah, I think if David and Keith don't have anything else to add to you and to share with you guys, then we can call it a day. It was fun to be here again. Thanks, guys, for being around for this AMA. And please keep in mind, we really appreciate your feedback and thoughts. We know that you're like the most valuable part of this project, this game, you, the community. So any feedback you have, any concerns you have, or any thoughts you want to share with us, please head to Discord and Telegram. We have amazing CMs there who are going to take care of you, and that will, I can guarantee, ping us as long as it needs to get the answers that you guys deserve. So thanks a lot and have a good day. See to hope you're on mainnet by early September now, once Terraform update is hitting.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.